Hi everyone, this is Kyle with kayDbait. I wanted to do a video on myself again. I wanted to explain a few things about why I do these things, and one of my weaknesses really is what it is I have an ego, and when I try to talk to certain people that also have an ego or who are actively pushing for their own thing, I resist it. I naturally resist trying to be coerced or, somebody trying to change my mind. But at the same time, I'm aggressive when I debate. Is like I hold people to a very high standard of discussion, and when I don't get that, I call them out on it. Like I say, hey, what you're saying, you're missing everything. This. And for a lot of people, they want a casual discussion. They want something that's low key, that's not really well. And in the same sense, they're getting annoyed because I'm not agreeing with them. So there's like a two-pronged thing where I'm holding to them to a higher standard, and they're not getting what they want because I'm not giving it to them. So most of the discussions I have become aggravated. They become annoyed or whatever. It's like, oh, you have this paragraph long or book long response. I don't have the investment for that kind of thing. It's like that's because I'm very invested in my discussions. So I'm like it's not overbearing, but I'm just like this big thing that pops into like people's news feeds. It's like, oh, they're commented on this thing, and then there's like one line of responses from everybody, and then there's mine, which is like huge, and then they're like, yeah, this guy's has too much time on his hands or whatever, so they immediately dismiss me. Then I say, you can't dismiss me because that's not fair. And then it's like, because one of the issues I have is being dismissed. I don't like that. I think it's very demeaning and dehumanizing. So I call them out on it, and they don't like that, and it's a problem for me because I need to step back and say, these people, they're not into having a big discussion. It's not what they want to do. They want to just say their thing and then leave it at that. And I disagree with that. So I'm trying to step back more, but at the same time, I don't want to step back because people need to have facts. So really, I've gotten more reactionary towards misinformation and not just poor discussion skills. Like if somebody made a mistake or they didn't know how to explain something or they explained something badly, I can help them with that. But when somebody's spreading real misinformation on purpose for an agenda, then I get really big on that. Then I get this huge paragraph. So I'm trying to be more low-key. I'm failing. I'm not doing it as well as I could. I'm not as articulate sometimes as I would like to be. I don't think I've ever fallen to the point where I'm just yelling at somebody. I don't think I've only ever done that in my entire life once, and like as actually yelling at somebody, and that was I believe justified because of what they were doing. But something really bad. But other than that, I think I've been able to remain calm mostly and collected. And some people don't like that because they think it's being apathetic, and I don't agree with that either. But I try to. It's really weird. I want to be invested in the topic, but I also don't want to be like emotionally overbearing. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. Is overbearing. It's just when somebody has a topic that's controversial or it's inherently inflammatory or incendiary or whatever the word you want to use, I get little red flags in my head. Is why are they doing this? What's going on? What are they trying to push? And in itself, that's not wrong, but I really need to be careful with it because it can be wrong. So I need to be able to look at something objectively. And it's really hard sometimes when it's a really controversial topic that I think they're just trying. I think that's the issue. I think they're trying to do something with this information, is incite responses or get likes, or they're doing it just for the lulz or whatever the heck you want to call it. So I need to not do that as much. I need to be able to say, hey, what's up? And just talk to them. And it's something that I have a problem with because I want to be able to start the discussion immediately, get into the bare bones, get in all the facts, get everything out there, just get it done, talk about it, just do it. And some people really don't want that. They want the casual, or they want the people that just agree with them, obviously, but that's not always the case. So I have gotten a few things that were my fault. I admit that I went way too far sometimes, I didn't get to the point where I was yelling at them. No, not at all. But there was one person, they made a comment, and I made this huge thing, and they're like, "That's not what I meant." And I'm like, "Oh, crud, I messed up," because I assumed that because they worded it vaguely that they were agreeing with something when they weren't. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I was just, I mean, I did mean it, but I thought you meant something else. So it was my bad. I'm sorry. And I do apologize when I make mistakes. I do. It's hard sometimes because ego makes it hard to apologize sometimes. But when I am wrong, I try to correct it. I try to fix it. And like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to apologize. I really don't, and I'll put it off for a while. But I think we all have that issue. I think we all have a little bit of ego in us, and there's some stories I have of conversations where I messed up and I had to fix it, and I can't just backtrack. That's not cool. But it's like, oh, I meant to something else. No, that's not what I do. I'm like, okay, I misunderstood. What I thought you were saying was this. What you actually meant, I guess, was this. You've explained it. I'm sorry. We can have a discussion about that if you want. Most of the time, they don't want to discuss it anymore because they think I'm crazy or whatever. But it's this idea that I'm taking things too seriously sometimes. It's that I make things too big too fast. It's they want something casual and small, and just if it builds into something that's natural, kind of thing. But with me, it's like, discussion, controversial thing. We gotta, get this out in the open. Like, what are your problems with this and this and this? And what's your view on this and this and this? And it's not me like accusing them necessarily. It's me saying, according to what you've said, it sounds like you mean this. Is that true? And then I ask them. It's like, it's not like maybe an interview kind of thing, but I want a debate. I want it. I want a debate. It's what I love. So when I see somebody starting a conversation about a topic that I either know a lot about or it's really interesting and I want to learn more about it, I immediately start this big thing that I want to learn more and I want to hear more, and then immediately either gets cut or there's a negative response or they block me, which has happened. I've gotten blocked from a lot of Facebook pages because of stuff like that, and it's not necessarily I'm laughing about it now because some of it was absurd. I'm remembering the individual ones. That's why it's not the generality of, oh, I said this horrible thing and I got blocked. No, that's not what I'm doing. What I did is there was some controversial topics and I started a discussion, but then the discussion didn't go anywhere, so I started another one because it's like one person responded and then it just died. So I was like asking other people questions and then they thought I was spamming. So they blocked me, and it was like, I wasn't spamming. I was asking multiple people multiple questions because there was like 5,000 comments on this thing. So mine was just washed away and it was gone. So then instead of making one big post, I was like asking people about their ideas. And they're like, oh, so-and-so made this comment. So I responded to it. So-and-so made a different comment, so I responded to it in a different way. I wasn't a spam bot. I was asking people individual questions about different things. But they just saw one person commenting like 50 times, and they blocked me. It's like, oh, okay. It's funny because it's like, why did they do that? I can't get any responses, and all my things got erased. But people might think that I left when I didn't. I didn't do that. That's another thing that bothers me, by the way, is people that leave a comment, and then they erase their comment. And then you don't know what they said. You knew what they said earlier, but now your response doesn't make sense because you can't remember what they said. That bothers me because I want to understand. I want to remember the whole conversation. But it's so interesting to see myself in this I messed up view. Is like, if you just had a montage of all the times I messed up, I would look like the worst kind of person because I've made so many mistakes. Because when you go outside of your normal, like reactionary stuff really, really makes you look like kind of a jerk sometimes, especially when your reactions are bad. It's like, so-and-so made a comment online, and then you giant post. Then they immediately block you. It's like, oh, I guess I messed up. But then when you do that a whole bunch of times, it makes you seem like an internet troll or something like that. So I'm smiling and laughing about this because I know I've made mistakes. I know I'm stupid sometimes. I need to be better, and I guess that's just the way I try to laugh it off. But I do try to take it very seriously. I do try to understand why I make mistakes and how I can, do better. So when that happens, when I've realized I did something wrong, I spend some time trying to figure it out, and I spend some time. But my ego fights me. My ego does fight me a lot. I tend to not back down. Like a few days ago, I was having a discussion with my brother about something stupid. It wasn't anything important, but he was just saying something like offhand. He's like, "Oh, this," and I'm like, "Wait, that doesn't sound fair. Are you sure you're not like?" And he's like, "No." It's like, "Oh, okay," but sometimes we get into a discussion that goes on for like 20 minutes, and he like only wanted it to be like an offhand comment, and I won't let it go because it wasn't like, I don't think it's fair, or I don't think it's right, or I don't think, so something we have it all the time. He just doesn't want to talk about it. Like, he's not into the same thing. Like, he's not into the discussion, and so he gets annoyed and frustrated, and then he's like, "You know what? You believe whatever, I believe whatever." And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I know I shouldn't do that. I know I shouldn't keep going and going, because I've had this discussion with several people where they've made this observation of me, which is I can argue something to death. That's what they say. I can argue anything about anything to death, which in their viewpoint, and this is the point they made anyway, so I don't know if it's true or not for everybody, but when somebody makes a comment and you want to argue about it or you want to discuss it, they will eventually run out of steam about the discussion before I do. So to death doesn't mean forever. It just means so far they cannot reach the end. Like, I will not stop before they do. And that is kind of an ego thing, is I want it to be fully fleshed out, and I want them to understand, and whether they want to or not. So that's a problem. I need to not do that as much. I really want to find somebody that I can have these discussions with at length, like a real discussion at length, who has the same passion for it that I do, and I haven't found anyone yet. I found one person, maybe I think they're a doctor who has, like, they've gone to school for years and years about stuff, and they're very dedicated to their work. They're very outspoken about things, but they're also fair about it. So I think maybe if I can get them into my videos, we can really, really get deep in topics. Even if we're not in videos, I really want to spend some time talking to people. I know another person that's really into debate, but they're into debate about other things. So we're not really, they specialize in something else. So I don't know if I can get them in there. And they're also kind of apathetic towards making videos. They just want to talk about things. They don't have a lot of time. They're very busy. So I'm really interested in finding somebody that I can talk about on the same level about important things, or even about nothing, I guess. But I have 3 people right now that I'm really, really contemplating trying to get into my videos. I've had the idea of doing podcast type videos where there's just kind of a screen, because I'd have to talk to them through Skype, so you don't want to look at the Skype window the entire time. So just an image overlaid over the entire video, or drownouts, which are it's a term for, you're playing a game, like a very casual game, and you're just having a discussion while playing a game. So there's something interesting to look at, and you can just kind of listen to it while you're doing your own thing. And they're like very casual. They're very, like, they have topics, but really they're not serious. And I think those 2 things can be a very interesting kind of thing to try. And I presented it to 3 people. I've gotten a response from one of them being a maybe. They don't like certain things. Like, they're into discussion, but they're not into the depth that I am. So they're worried that I would take over the entire thing, and then they wouldn't have fun doing it. And that's the thing that I want, is for the people to enjoy the experience, for them to be part of the experience, and not just be like this thing that I grab and staple on. So for me, it's really, really important. And for other people, it might just be a thing that they're doing for fun. So I need to be able to, and I want them to have fun doing it, but I also want it to be, taken with at least somewhat professional seriousness, because if they're just being wacky or saying offhand things, then really it's not adding to anything, and I might as well be doing it on my own. But I also don't want to force them to conform to something either, because that's not cool. It's like, oh, you have to be professional. No, I want you to be natural. I just want to find somebody that enjoys it, but also takes it seriously. So like certain people can talk about certain subjects. Otherwise, they might get offended or angry. One of my friends told me, don't talk about this subject if we're going to do this. I'm like, okay, I respect that, because they would become angry at it. And I'm like, okay, I won't bring it up. Is that okay? And they're like, yes. And so I need to understand what's okay and what's not okay for other people, because it is a conversation. It's a dialogue. It's not me. It's us. And it's something that I really want to try. And I've obviously, as somebody who debates and who knows I can become overbearing, I can become like this bigger like thing that just won't, like a relentless kind of debating machine thing. I need to step down and wait and think about it and be able to find somebody that either can handle that level or to go and be more casual about that. So, to match the other person, a skill set that I've never practiced before, and like not massively. I mean, I do try to stay on the same level as other people, but I fail. So, that I guess that could be the topic of this one is, me, things about me, for this video, I mean. And I try to sum up the entire thing and then put it in the title somewhere, so I don't really need to sum it up. But ideas for the future. I really want to try and start that, to start the podcast or the drown out kind of videos. And I had a name for it earlier, and I lost it. I don't remember what it was. It was something stupid. But I kind of like stupid names. Like I like silly names because I think like creative names, like not necessarily silly, but like something that somebody that has a title for a piece that all starts with the letter B, or like something that it's like a limerick almost, or something that rhymes. I like names that are like that. Like one of my, and this is the last thing. This is a silly thing. One of my friends was talking about this new alcohol that he got, and I don't like alcohol, but he was saying that it was maple scotch. Like he's from Canada. He lives in Canada, so it was Canadian scotch. So Canadian and Scottish people, and he was talking about all these different things, and then I was thinking of the gummy bears. He told me about gummy bears that he had made with vodka, and because I was vodka and scotch, I don't know why they were associated in my mind, but it was really funny because he was talking about that, and my brother was talking about it earlier, and that's probably why it came up. But I was asking him about spiced gummy bears because he had bought them before and he loved them. It was like the best thing ever. Spicy gummy bears. They sound really cool. And then he mentioned he was just talking about his alcohol because he was drinking it, and he said it was really, really good. And then I was like, okay, spiced gummy bears. You talked about spiced rum before. Because he told me that you can put vodka or rum in gummy bears to make them the alcoholic gummy bears, and they get really big and whatever. And I was like, wait, spiced gummy bears. Can you do that? You can call them spiced rummies. And he hated the name. He hated the name spiced rummies. And then he told me find one for vodka. Find him a name for vodka as well, because you can make gummies with vodka. And I was like, the Russian something. And I called it because there's I can't remember. I'll put it in the description when I remember it, because I'll actually look it up. I'll actually go back into the conversation and look it up. But he hated the name spiced rummies, but he loved the idea. And I don't promote drinking. He is a very responsible drinker. He drinks responsibly, so I could respect that. He's not an alcoholic or anything like that. But he does like what he likes. So if there was a podcast, we could talk about that. Or we can talk about, like, he is an artist, but he specifically said don't talk about certain things about art because he'd be angry about it, because he's currently going through school for that, and he hates he hates the definition the school gave for art. He's a very creative person. He's a very, like, he has his own ideas, and that's cool. But he does disagree with the established rule set for art. He's like, anything can be art. Modern art is terrible. He just has ideas. So he says, don't talk about those things or he'll become very animated and very angry about things, which is fine. But then I have other people that are just specialists and stuff that I have know nothing about, like geology, like the advanced geology stuff. And then there's physicists. I actually know a doctor of physics who's awesome, and I really want to get him in some of my videos, but I don't know what I would talk to him about, But anyway, it's just these silly things or these really important things or these things I'm not aware of. And I love it. I love that I can have these kind of people in my life that I can really hope to talk to in more depth. So that's another aspect of my life is I try to find these people that are very interesting or very that can communicate in these unique ways, and then I respect everybody really, but these are the kind of people that I want closer, like in my life, as people that I talk to more often and who I can share ideas with, and who can have this dialogue and this conversation. I really like that. So this video is getting really long. I apologize, I kind of rambled, but I hope you enjoyed this at least. The spiced rummy thing sounds funny. I would never have them because I don't drink, and I personally don't do that. But if you guys think it's a funny idea, spiced rummies, I think it's a funny name, and that's where I think it's funny. I think it's cute. It's like, I don't know why. It's just something stupid, and I like that. So I thought it was clever. I thought that's really what it was. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in the next video, and peace.